Hey everyone, this is Leroy Ervin, the 1984 World Champion, Detroit Tiger. My favorite show to be on is the Sports Circus with Big Sal.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild, Charter, and independent cable affiliates from coast to coast in select markets, as well as Hotel TV where applicable. Everybody streaming on Pick Your Favorite Streamer and on Facebook on Chicago Food Favorites. Folks, make sure you check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. A fun group. Have some fun. Post your favorite restaurants, favorite recipes, your favorite foods. Make some friends. Have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right, now that we got all that out of the way, folks, we're here with a very special guest. In fact, we're going to let him introduce himself right here on the Sports Circus. And you know, it's been a while since you've been back here to the show. Leroy, tell everybody about yourself in 30 seconds.
Well, 30 seconds, that would be too long. But Leroy Ervin, 11-year veteran, Los Angeles Rams, four-time All-Pro, Pro Bowl twice, then my record holder.
All right.
From Kansas.
From Kansas, all right. All right, what else you got? Where are you at right now, buddy?
I'm on the safe side of the truck wall. I'm in Rodeo Beach, Mexico.
You're down in Mexico. All right. How about a nice round of applause for being down in Mexico? Boy, that sounds great. I'll tell you what, buddy, I know where you're at. That's a great spot as well. So you just said, you know, I'm going to retire down here and I'm going to live a nice, fun, comfortable life down here.
Well, you know, the thing about down here is they don't have gun stores. So if you want to get a gun, you have to go to the Army to put an application in to get a gun. So all the good guys don't have guns. Bad guys have guns. I stay away from the bad guys.
Yeah, well, got to tell you, boss, I don't blame you. So, I mean, look, all that time in the league, and you've had so many experiences. I don't want to go on a game by game or this, that. I just want to have a fun conversation. Look, you and I talk anyway outside of that, and about Leroy's favorite things in life. What are your favorite things in life?
Working with charities, working with children, and you know, just relaxing, fishing. I used to golf, but I can't golf anymore. So
well, I'm a terrible golfer.
I gave golf up.
Buddy, listen, I gave golf up, and I'm a terrible golfer, and I was never any good at it. But I still do it because I'm a glutton for punishment, if you know what I mean.
Well, it's relaxing out there on the golf course. You're just relaxing. You're with your friends. You know, I mean, if you play with serious guys, then it's a problem. But if you play with guys who just want to play and have some fun, it's a great game.
Yeah, some guys are out there 4, 5, 6 times a week, and I got to tell you, I'm out there once a month at best, and I'll play a 9-hole, a par 3, because then at least I know I'm playing a short game, and then I'm playing with irons, which I can hit irons okay. I can hit them pretty straight, but I don't have to slice the ball 100 yards out of bounds with one of the big drivers by playing a full course. So at least I know what I'm getting myself into. So if I'm a par, I'm happy as heck. I mean, at least if I can get one par, I'm very happy. But boss, I got to tell you, I am not good in the golfing business.
Yeah, well, I'm from Augusta, Georgia. So when I was in high school, I thought I could be a pro golfer.
Oh.
I mean, when I went out to the golf course, I thought I could shoot scratch golf. When I got around 35 years old, I gave up the idea of being a pro golfer. So I started going out and having fun. So, I just have fun. If I mess up, I mess up. It's a game. Enjoy it.
It is a game.
I'm never going to be on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, well, listen, the only thing I could ever do, I couldn't even caddy for those guys. I mean, I'll watch it, but I think about this. I mean, golf it's an incredible skill game. But I always say this on the show, and it drives some people crazy. Because I'm thinking, look, in the sporting world, look, I'm a former baseball player. You're a former football player. I always say, if you can drink a beer and do it, it's not a sport.
Yeah, right. I had the fortunate opportunity to caddy for Peter Oosterhuis in the 75 Masters. His caddy got arrested the night before the last day, and I caddied for him that day. And first thing he told me was, "Don't say a word." I didn't say a word all day. So,
how do you enjoy yourself if you're not saying a word?
Well, see, I only caddied at Augusta National a few times. So I was actually picking greens on number 2 when his caddy got put in jail the night before, so they asked me, can I caddy for him? So I didn't really know the course. I mean, I've walked around it a few times, but I didn't really know the course. So I was caddying for him, and Peter knew that I didn't know the course. So he said, don't say nothing. That means, I have no opinion. I don't know the course.
Oh. Well, now that's interesting.
I guess the National back then, you couldn't bring your own caddy. You had to use the clubhouse caddies. Oh. But we were clubhouse caddies. We'd only get like maybe 3 groups going on all day.
Okay.
So there are 30 guys in the club, in the caddy house, and only 12 guys get to go out. So the Augusta National caddies don't really know the course that well. Only a few of them can go out on the course every day. So that's why Jack Nicklaus had the great caddy. And Jack Nicklaus had one, Watson had one, and Nicklaus had one. One of the best caddies at Augusta National.
I got you. So, I mean, that's an interesting thing. We think of what does it take to be an exceptional golfer. There's a few guys that I talk to that play on the Legends Tour, for example. So, like one of my buddies is Butch Baird. And Butch was always kind of a prankster, a funny guy, and he and Bruce Crampton. And Bruce Crampton, just an old curmudgeon, but man, that guy is good. And I mean, really good. But talking to those two and listening just to the dialogue between the two guys, I mean, there is an encyclopedia of stories, great stories about all their experiences. And that's kind of where I'm going with all this today. We think about the things that make you happy. And look, out of all your years of playing, how many years did you play the league? 11 years in the league, right. So after the 11 years, look, you've seen some things that you probably still shake your head like, how the heck did that happen? Right or wrong?
You try to forget them.
Yeah. And
you try to put them.
Yeah.
You try to forget them. I remember one game we were playing the Jets up in the Meadowlands, and I was shutting my guy down all day long. And there was 47 seconds left in the game. I got cocky. He got a touchdown on me when they won the game. But I still think about that game in the Meadowlands.
Yeah. Sometimes things happen and you're like, well, how the heck did that happen? It happens so quick and you can't do anything about it. You can't unwind the situation. You just have to suck it up and deal with it and learn from it. And those are the things that have built your character over the years. But also, when we look at the great experiences that went in your favor, because there had to be some of those as well. I'm sure, again, you have an encyclopedia of them. Give me one in the last minute or so of the segment here.
Well, Atlanta, 1981, I came into Atlanta, my hometown, and I set the NFL record for most punt return yards in a game. That record, I set that record in 1981, and it still stands today.
Wow. That's a lot of... Look at it this way. Out of all the years that have gone through, and you think of the guys like Brian Mitchell. Brian's a wonderful guy. I love Brian. And you think of Devin Hester, how Devin changed the game. In fact, they even moved the kickoff line up because of Devin Hester. Crazy stuff like that. But you ask yourself, What would a guy like yourself, if you had done that on a regular throughout your whole career? What about Anthony Davis? Anthony, a very dear friend of mine, right? From USC from back in the day, right? With all those all-purpose yards. What would he have done in a situation like that? He just got into the wrong system at the wrong time. Boy, talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But generally speaking, you think about a guy like yourself with all that skill, and that record still holds today. I mean, decades and decades later. Obviously, it was something that, first of all, is damn near impossible to do. But on top of it, nobody's ever even done it besides that. Period. And it still stands. That's pretty cool. That is very cool. All right. Hey, listen, Leroy, when we come back from break, I don't know where we're going to go. And that's the cool thing about this, because a little bit trial and error. You know what I'd like to do is I'd like to talk a little bit about the forthcoming show with you as the star of your own show. Let's talk about, what does it take to develop a show? What does it take to put a production on and distribute it and stuff like that? What do you think about that?
I think it's something I don't know very much about, and you know more about it than I do. So I think you have to put a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of preparation. You have to be on top of every little aspect. You got to know what you're talking about. And you got to make people believe that you know what you're talking about.
That's right. I tell you what, folks, when we come back, we're going to be back here with Leroy Ervin, NFL legend. I'm going to call him an NFL legend because, hey, listen, this guy's still in the record books today. 11 years in the league. If you can last more than the minimum or the average, you certainly are legendary. Back here in a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come, folks. Don't go anywhere. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, this segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Folks, check them out. All right, a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our network affiliates and independents, including our friends. Thanks for waking up with us over in Atlanta on 99.1 FM WDJY. Right down the road from there over in Auburn, Alabama, stretching from Columbus, Georgia, all the way to the other side of Montgomery, is WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for driving home with us there. All those listening throughout the heartland out to the West Coast, driving up and down Interstate 15, on their way to or from Las Vegas from sunny Southern California. Thanks for joining us on 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM, Highway Country Radio. That's home of the Raiders and home of the Vegas Golden Knights, all the way up to LA, to Seattle, down to Honolulu. CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, that's home of the Yankees, 49ers, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And of course, welcome to everybody on all of our cable affiliates and Hotel TV where applicable and so forth. Hey, listen, by the way, folks, if you happen to be listening in on this program on Highway Country Radio or any of these other stations or others, listen, Vacation Buddies has a fun little giveaway for you if you can answer a basic trivia question. And that question is, which of these NBA superstars won 6 NBA titles? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer to this very simple trivia question, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. That's Vacation Buddies. They want to give you a couple of nights in Vegas, Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri, if you know the answer to that very simple trivia question. And remember, they're not a part of this radio station or affiliated, but they sure want to give you a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas or in Orlando or Branson if you know the answer to the trivia question. 888-576-5777. Call them now. All right, folks, and if you don't know the answer to that trivia question, I'm sorely disappointed. But nonetheless, moving on. Back here with one of our friends here on the Sports Circus and a returning guest, and also with the possibility of hosting a show someday, is the great Leroy Ervin. And Leroy, thanks for joining us once again. That's right.
Thank you.
11 years in the league, and boy, you've seen it all, and you're a record holder, and wow, and you're living the life down in Mexico. Gotta like that. Boy, what does it take on a day-to-day basis to live outside the U.S.? Because you've been doing this for a little while, right? What are the differences? What are the differences between living in Mexico versus living in the United States?
Well, I can go to the post office and no one's going to shoot up the post office. I can go to Walmart and no one's going to shoot up the Walmart. I can go out and have a drink in the restaurant. No one's going to shoot up the restaurant. Everyone says it's violent down here. There's hardly any violence. The cartel's going to have violence between them. They're going to leave you alone. And the people are just great. We hear all these negative things about the people. They're great people down here, and I just love it. I feel like, so I'm working with an orphanage right now to build a sports park for the orphanage because there's like 70 kids up there whose parents, most of them just gave these kids away. They just brought them to the orphanage and dropped them off. So I'm trying to make a better life for them. So, I'm sucking off the community. I'm also giving back to the community.
Yeah, that's great stuff. And, people don't realize. Now, I know exactly where you're at. In fact, my ex-girlfriend used to live right down there in your area, right across from Papa's and Beer. Right? And so this is way, way back in the time machine. But I have to tell you, I've spent a lot of time driving up and down the free road from San Diego, down the Quota from San Diego. And look, the free road is just as good as driving the Quota. It's just less traffic on the Quota, right, which is a toll road. But generally speaking, the people are good. The food is really good.
Food is very good.
Yeah, and the lifestyle is very relaxed, generally speaking. And like you said about cartels and whatnot, look, right here in Vegas, we know all the muscle back in the day was the boys. And the boys did the right thing for Vegas. And guess what? Vegas ran really smooth. There was no headaches here, no nothing. I mean, now it's the polar opposite. But as you were referring to, people leave each other alone. Well, guess what? That's how Vegas was back in the day. And that's exactly how it works down there from everything I have seen and obviously what you're explaining.
Yeah, great community. I locked my keys in the car. One day I was in Puerto Nuevo. I locked my keys in the car, came out of the restaurant, couldn't get my keys out of the car. 5 guys came out of the restaurant and tried to help me get my keys out of the car.
Yeah.
I tried to pay them. I was give them like $10 each. I tried to pay them. They didn't want the money. I just threw it on the ground. So you guys got to take it or leave it. And I got in my car and took off. The people help each other down here. They care about each other. It's like more of a family type situation. And, I just love it down here.
Yeah, it's a great situation. And Puerto Nuevo, for everyone that doesn't know, it's kind of like a really good fishing village. I think that's the best way I can actually describe it. Because a lot of fishing boats come in and out of there, obviously Puerto Nuevo or Newport, right? And boy, the food is phenomenal, but the people are so cool down there, and it's really hard for those that live in a closed environment with a closed mind to go down to a place where, hey, look, this is just like where you're from. It just happens to be on the other side of the border.
Puerto Nuevo is made a lobster place.
Yes.
Everyone goes there for lobsters. It's a fishing village as well, but everyone goes there for lobsters. I think the Americans, they listen to too much news. Have to think. LA is dangerous. Santa Ana's dangerous. San Diego's dangerous. San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, all our cities, Las Vegas, they're all dangerous cities. You go to the wrong part of town, you're going to get in trouble. That's anywhere in the world, So you got to know where you're going. Stay out of places where bad people hang out at, and chances are you're not going to get in trouble.
Yeah, and also, and I always tell people, they say, well, you live in Las Vegas, there's a lot of crazy things that happen there. Well, yes and no. First of all, if you look like a victim, you're going to be a victim. Second, if you go into the wrong place, chances are trouble's going to find you. You're not going to find trouble, right? So wrong place, wrong time. And so you're better off staying where you're supposed to stay. And we all know where we're not supposed to go, right? And look, I'm from the west side of Chicago, and I know there are places that I'm not supposed to go, and I just don't go. Right? It is what it is. So if you're smart, if you have a little street smart, you'll understand you can go just about anywhere in the world. One time, I got to tell you this, Leroy, I was down in Brazil, and notice I don't say Brazil, it's Brazil, right? So I was down there, and this was in 1999, 1998, whatever. And I walked from, actually it was 98. Wait, yeah, 98. I walked all the way from the south end of Sao Paulo, which is an enormous city. There's a place called Santo Amaro.
Yes.
So I went to a restaurant down there called Jardineira. And the Jardineira is technically, it was the first churrascaria, which is the Brazilian barbecue. It was the very first, and they call it food orgy, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those places you're like, oh my God, it's the best food experience you'll ever have. But I went down there to meet my friend who was at that time the president of Telemar, which is the big cell phone provider down in Brazil. And so I went down there to meet, his name was Rubens, a very good friend of mine. And then he goes, well, I can give you a lift back to Paulista where you're staying. And I'm like, no, I'm going to walk. He goes, no, you don't want to walk this. He goes, first of all, it's about 15 miles. I'm like, I don't care. He goes, yeah, but you're going through bad neighborhoods. I said, I can handle myself. Don't worry about it. Right? And so how the story went was that I walked back. It was a perfect day, a perfect night. I walked back, and people were looking at me. But what I always did is I always looked in their eyes. because I wanted to be able to identify them, right? And so when I got back, he called to make sure I was back. He goes, either you're just too damn stupid to realize where you were, or people thought you were too crazy to deal with. Either way, luckily you made it back. And I just said, I don't look like a victim. And that's where I'm going with this whole thing, because I know I can identify them and I can handle myself pretty well. But hey, listen, if they've got a bigger weapon than me, then obviously I've got a problem. But they always say, well, carry mugging money. I'm like, I don't carry mugging money. Well, that's about 10 reais or royals. That's what it looked like, right? So basically the equivalent of about $5. But I'm like, I'm not going to give somebody just $5 because they're trying to shake me down. I don't do that stuff. So even down in Mexico, people are very nice. There's problems everywhere. But again, if you're going to look like a victim, you're going to be a victim, plain and simple, right or wrong.
You're from Chicago, right?
Yes, sir.
Or South Side? Yes. You from Detroit? Are you from Detroit? 8 Mile? Where you from?
I know 8 Mile. No, I'm from the west side of Chicago. 8 Mile in Detroit,
the South Side of Chicago. Of course, you go to Brazil, you're not going to be afraid.
No, man. I you know what? The only thing that makes me scared is God.
Yes.
That's it, right?
Yes.
All right. I will, in the last minute of this segment, I will admit, hey, listen, I see things sometimes that I can't explain, nor will I ever try to explain. And that is my signal to shut the heck up, or you better start doing things a better way, if you know what I mean.
Right. Exactly. 100%. He's the only one that knows when we're going to die.
That's right. You're absolutely right. In the meantime, what are we doing, man? We're just drinking the Kool-Aid saying, okay, whenever it happens, just be gentle.
Be gentle. Yeah.
I don't want to have some horrible situation where it's the last thing that's gone through my brain.
You know, I don't want to die in a plane crash.
Yeah, I don't either. You and me both, buddy. All right, tell you what, when we come back, we're going to be back here with Leroy Ervin in just a few minutes. Sometime we're going to get to football in this. Who the hell knows? Don't go anywhere, folks. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, plus a whole bunch of others. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners. One of our favorites, my personal favorite, is Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And folks, if you can't get over there for some great food, check them out at alsbeef.com. And alsbeef.com, that is a link where you can read all about the creators, which they are, the creators of that famed Italian beef sandwich. I tell you, folks, it is incredible. It's stupid good. It's just one of those things. They've been in business since 1938, but they invented or first created the sandwich 117 years ago. That's right, 117 years ago. So they are the original. Check them out, folks. And don't confuse that Italian beef sandwich with that other thing from Philadelphia that they call a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. But it's a fried poor cut of beef with onions and peppers. They throw some cheese whiz on it, slap it on a bun, and send you on your way. But the real cooking is done for the Italian beef sandwich. It takes almost a day just to prepare the top round and bottom round roast that they use. Another story for another time. Anyway, folks, check that out, alsbeef.com. And by the way, in case you're just tuning in the last segment, there was a giveaway for our friends over at Vacation Buddies. If you knew the answer to that very simple trivia question, and of course it was which NBA superstar out of these four won 6 NBA titles? Was it A, Magic Johnson? Was it B, Shaquille O'Neal? Was it C, Kobe Bryant? Or was it D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777 for a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas or in Orlando, Florida, or Branson, Missouri. You take a pick. If you know the answer, 888-576-5777. Guess what? And Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with the station, but they sure want you to travel, and they want you to check out any one of those places. Give them a call. All right, now that we got all of our business done, welcome back to everybody. Radio and TV, you know who you are, even those are on the Mars rover. Thanks for joining us right now. And we are back here, and we're going to talk a little bit of football with our friend Leroy. And Leroy Ervin, 11 years in the league, 10 with the Rams, 1 with the Detroit Lions. Leroy, let's talk a little bit of LA Rams football. Let's go back in the time machine, and let's go back to maybe 1984. Go ahead.
You know, I'm having a great time with the Sports Circus. I'm going to tell you one thing. The Rams led the NFL in revenue in 1984. $28 million with a payroll of $8 million. They're the 17th highest paid team in the league. So the Rams had a history of not paying the players. That's why they lost Dickerson, they lost a lot of players, because the Rams didn't pay the players. But now with the salary cap, teams can't do that. I have to spend a certain amount of money every year, and some teams screw up by doing that because they pay a quarterback $60 million, If they had defensive tackle $30 million, a corner $20 million, that's $110 million. And you only have $140 million to pay 49 other guys. So what happened from that was the league made every team pay a certain amount of money per year, so teams wouldn't be cheap like the Rams.
You know what I found? I did this probably about a month or so ago. I was looking at payroll by position on average in the National Football League. And what struck me a little bit interesting was I was just looking at the numbers, and I saw what the corners were right around $1,999,000, whatever. And I saw that the place kickers were about $2,300,000 on average, right? This is just on average. I'm not saying any standout guys, but on average. I found the running backs to be about $1,700,000. Imagine that. And of course, the highest paid players on average, they were not the quarterback, but they were the left tackle. Of course, for blindside protection, right? For the quarterback. But what's interesting is that the running backs were so low because we're in a pass-happy league, Leroy. We don't think about the fact that, hey, now you've got an I formation. There is no such thing anymore. You don't have a running back doing what they used to do. You don't have a fullback anymore in half the teams. You have a tight end that subs as a fullback, so to say, for pass protection. But generally speaking, are we seeing too much passing in today's game?
What happened was we sued the owners and we won. The concussion lawsuit changed the game forever. So instead of doing the Rambo, because I go to Rams practice, right? They can't have any 2-a-days. No 2-a-days. They can have a walkthrough in the morning, and they're filming a walkthrough. They start running, the league can find them. And they have a half gears. They can only go two full gear practices a week. That's under in half gear. And you only get 20 minutes a day, 20, 30 minutes a day in the afternoon practice. So we sued the owners and we won. So what they had to do, they had to change the game because our game was smash mouth. We were, it was like, Tatum, Bensick, Blood, all those guys, it's like smash mouth. And so they changed the game. So now they made it safer. What we used to do back in the day, the receivers, they never came across the middle. Never came across the middle. Now they come across the middle dancing and joking around and all happy and jolly. In our era, we bust them up.
Yeah, as I see it today's game, I have this talk on a regular basis with one of my good friends, Tyrone Poole. And Tyrone played, of course, opposite Ty Law. And I said, Tyrone, you never spent any time on the injured list. I said, apparently you weren't hitting anybody. And he goes, well, no, my job was to break up passes. I'm like, all right, I can respect that. I'm cool with that. But I said, but didn't you ever want to put a hat into somebody? Come on, man. He goes, no.
It's about preservation, self-preservation. In high school and college, I was called Dr. Death in college. And I was called a headhunter in high school. When I got to, the pros, is about longevity. Taking care of your body. Even though I had some very bad injuries in my career, but it's about taking care of your body. But there are some guys, like I said, Bensick, Blank, Garrison, those guys from Chicago, they would take your head off and wouldn't even blink. So, but nowadays you can't. If I catch a ball, if I'm gonna catch a ball, I don't come down with 2 feet. I can't hit you to come down with 2 feet. Mm-hmm. See, in our era, receiver would never ever think about leaving his feet. They knew we were coming after him. But now they can leave their feet. The rules allow them to hit the ground with 2 feet before you can hit him. And if he's defenseless, you can't hit him.
Right. And you know what I find interesting? So Doug Plank is a good friend of mine and the show. Yeah. And Doug was one of those guys. He said, look, I told everybody on my team, if you see me running, get out of my way. He said, I don't know who I'm hitting. Just don't be the guy that I'm hitting because my head is down. And that's how I learned how to play when I was at Ohio State. And so, of course, I got no love for Ohio State, but I will say, hey, listen, I'm a Purdue guy. It is what it is, folks. And so, generally speaking, yeah, exactly. Generally speaking, but Doug's a great guy, a wonderful guy. But he just said, look, I told everybody, just please get out of my way. I don't want to hurt you, and I want to make sure that I hit the right guy. So just don't be the guy. Like you were saying, So that's how he dealt with everything. And other guys I know from the 85 Bears team, it just happened that that's how they played, whether it was Fensick or him or Richard Dent or Mike Singletary, McMichael, all of those guys. I mean, it was just scary. It was just scary stuff. And so, and here are our last couple of minutes of the segment. What's interesting, Leroy, is that, of course, one of your old Ram guys, Jim Everett, is the reason that I'm actually on air in the first place. And so Jim actually got me involved in this whole thing a decade ago. And he's still a good friend today, but Jim was one of those guys like, man, I didn't want to get hit by them. Nobody wanted to get hit by them, right? You think about your receivers coming across the middle. Nobody could come across the middle when you were playing. Nowadays, like you said, they're dancing, they're doing stupid things, and they're celebrating after every catch. How do you feel about that in 1 minute?
Well, because the league allows them to celebrate. But, I remember coming into Chicago in 1985 with Pearson, the best running back in the league. I mean, we had a 2-point lead with 7 minutes left, and Dickerson had the ball on the 20-yard line. We're going to win the game. He goes 5 yards, 3 yards, 6 yards, 4 yards, all the way down the field. I knew we were in trouble in Chicago in 85, the first series of the game. I thought, oh, shit, we're in trouble. Because you know why? Dickerson couldn't even get to the line of scrimmage. We had the best offensive line in football. And the best running back in football. And the wind was blowing off the lake, and Dieter Brock couldn't even throw a snap pass. So Dickerson can't get to the line of scrimmage. Dieter Brock can't throw a slant, and it's freezing, and we're in Soldier Field in late December. And I knew from the first quarter, first series, that we were going to win that game.
Right. That was the NFC Championship game. I think that ended up at like 20-0 or something like that. But then again, hey, don't feel bad because, well, the team they played before that, they got shut out as well. It's the same thing. I think they lost 24-0. If I'm not mistaken, that was the New York Giants. But in any event, look, that was a very, very scary team. In fact, when we come back, maybe we'll revisit some of that because, look, the game when you played is very, very different than this half-assed game they're playing today. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus. Back in a few minutes with Leroy Ervin.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi Code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work. and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Oh, and thanks for Brian Urlacher bringing us back from break as well. You know, Brian still owes me a round of golf and a pizza over in Arizona. I'm going to collect it from him. All right. And welcome back to everybody on all of our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents. Also, everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, Charter, and independent cable affiliates in select markets, plus Hotel TV where applicable. Everybody streaming, thanks for joining us on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, and everybody else. Plus on Facebook on Chicago Food Favorites. Make sure to check that out, Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right, back here with the great Leroy Ervin. And Leroy and I were talking in between break about what the game was back when you were playing back in the mid-80s. We're talking about those 85 Bears. Boy, that was, in my opinion, just as a fan of football, never mind the fact that I'm from Chicago, and I can say I'm from Chicago because I was born in Chicago on the lakefront. Anyway, not those people that live in the suburbs, right? But my point is, that is when men were men. That was kind of the end of the road for big hitting and football as we knew it as kids. In today's game, I'm sorry, but they play a very soft version. And now think about this, Leroy. They're playing flag football at the Pro Bowl. What kind of crap is that? Anybody can get behind that stuff. But anyway, let's go back to those Rams that you were playing with. I mean, Lee, you were on an absolute loaded team. And talk about the personalities and what you learned from your experience and what you brought to Detroit after you left the Rams.
When I got to the Rams in 1980 with a veteran team, you had Jack Youngblood, Jim Youngblood, Fred Dreyer. You know, those guys were iconic. I mean, still today. You know, but they were guys that you could talk to. If you're a fan, you walk up to them, they would have a conversation with you. They weren't like the guys now where you can't even say hi to them. They wouldn't even say hi to you. I was at Rams practice about a couple years ago, and I saw Cooper Kupp. I went to Cooper Kupp and said, "Hey man, Cooper, man, what's up? It's Leroy Ervin." "Yeah, Leroy, how you doing?" "Hey man, can I get a picture with you?" "Man, you really check with my family. You want to take a picture with me?" You know, and here's the thing. Eric Dickerson used to be like that. Eric Dickerson would not sign autographs. Would not sign any autograph. I did a boxing show in Indonesia for Muhammad Ali over there. And I told Eric I'll at least sign autographs at LAX. The time he walked in there, they said, "Ali, you want to get a private room?" "No, I'm going to sit out here." He would sit up with the fans, sign all the autographs. We get to Indonesia, and he said we're going to do a concert and a boxing show. He picked the concert. He got the emotions and the cool in the game. Don't you know he picked a dinner too? Don't you know from the time he sat down, people were coming for autographs. He didn't even eat his dinner. He didn't watch another concert. And he signed all day. And I said, "Ali, man, why don't you shoot that? What you do? He said, Leroy, you trying to keep me from my fans? See, guys today don't even think like that. They won't talk to you. They just shove you off. But the game has changed. We love the game. We love the fans.
You know, when everything changed, I'll tell you, me personally, I know I was still playing baseball at this time. When everything changed with the fan engagement, and I'll take it from the baseball side, was when Ricky Henderson, and I loved Ricky. Ricky was great. When Ricky and Canseco and McGuire started charging for autographs, that was where the wheels came off. And look, we didn't have the venues to sell them like they do today. Geez, you can't sign anything because you know you're going to find it on eBay just like that. But the point is, they started charging for autographs. And think about when we were kids. When we were kids, we would stick around after the game, and we'd see the players, whatever, they're all dressed. Oh, yeah, sure, kid, we'll sign this for you and that. And it was just normal business. It's what you're supposed to do. But when they started charging for autographs, it changed everything.
Everything. You know, Marcus Allen is a good friend of mine. Marcus Allen's a good friend of mine, and Marshall Faulk's a good friend of mine. I've known those guys for a long time. I want to put like a mural up in my house with all the guys that I knew and get them to sign a card for me. You know, Marcus thinks because I know him so well, why don't I want his autograph? That's his excuse. And Marcus thinks the same way. They don't want to sign autograph for me because they make $120, $200 per autograph. So they won't even sign autograph for me.
That's ridiculous.
They won't even sign for me.
These are your friends. They ought to do it anyway. What the hell's their problem?
They won't sign. Eric Dickinson. So after I get back from Indonesia, at the air, I was with Ali. I told him all the stories about Ali. I said, now, you don't sign anybody's autograph. You don't do this. You ain't Ali, man. You're not Ali. After that, Eric started signing everybody's autograph.
Right.
After 1992. I said, man, you go around like signing people's autographs. You ain't Ali. I mean, Ali signs autographs. If Ali signs autographs, you have to sign autographs. And Deacon Jones signs autographs. Merlin Olsen signs autographs. You know, so, but most of the guys are like that, like Marshall, he won't sign your autograph. Marcus, I love those guys. Don't get me wrong, I love them, but try to get them to sign an autograph for you.
You know, it's funny because one of my buddies told me a long time ago, and rest his soul, was Bob Grant. I don't know. Did you know Bob Grant?
Yeah, I know Bob Grant. Yeah,
Bob. We lost Bob about a year ago. Yeah, we lost him about a year ago. I talk to Bob all the time, and I said, you know, I have an old ticket from Super Bowl VII. I was going to do something special for my brother. I was going to have him sign the ticket because my brother actually won a contest to go to that Super Bowl with the perfect team, right? So I said, you know what? I'd like to have Marvin sign this thing for me. And he goes, oh, Marv's not going to sign nothing. So I talked to Marv. I talk to Marv Fleming on a regular basis, right? And I said, hey, Marvin, I got a question for you. He's like, yeah, what do you want? Because Marvin's a real nice guy. Super nice guy.
Soft voice.
Very soft voice guy. A wonderful guy, right? And he's like, how can I help you? And I said, look, man. I told him what I'm trying to do. He goes, of course I'll sign that for your brother. I said, it ain't for me, man. I don't need you to sign nothing except a check for about $10 million to me. Other than that, no. But, you know, Marvin was really good about that. But Bob told me, he goes, Marv, don't sign nothing. He doesn't sign a damn thing. I'm like, why? He's got everything he wants. What's the point?
Yeah. Well, I know Marv, you know, he's a good guy. He's kept my golf tournaments.
Yeah, I love Marv. Marv's a great guy.
You know, real quiet, soft voice.
Yep.
You know, the real MF, all this stuff. But he was a great guy, man. I love Marv.
Yeah, you know, it's such a small world, and I'm in this little circle here, and it all happened because of a very dear friend of mine, my friend Don Horn. And Don used to back up Bart Starr back in the day, right? Yeah. He bounced around the league a little bit, but Don's kind of like the conduit that keeps a lot of the guys together. And I've known Don for a long time, and he's just one of those guys. He has great stories with Lombardi and Hallis and stuff like that, and great stories around the league with your club, this club, that club. But there are certain guys that are really good for player relations, just amongst the former players, and he's one of those guys. There are certain people you want to be around. Don Horn's one of those guys that I owe a lot to him, and of course he always gets an astounding round of applause here on the show. Yes! And that's for guys like Don, because he's just one of those guys. You know what I mean? And I know you know guys like that too. Who are your go-to guys when it comes to putting good communication together between the former players and the people that you're still tight with?
Well, I talked to Eric Dixon a lot. I talked to Vince Ferragamo. I was in business with Vince Ferragamo. I talked to all of my guys. All their birthdays, I call them. Randomly, most of the guys on the team, I get their numbers. I call them randomly. Say, how you doing? They call me randomly. Because that's all we have. We don't have nothing else. All we have is each other. The memories we had together, time we spent together, it's all we have. Forget the money, forget the things. It's about the time you spent with these guys for, some guys 10 years, some guys 11 years. And it's like, they're like family.
Yeah, you went to war with them, and it's a different relationship altogether. And at the end of the day, it's never mind the money. It's just the experiences and the time and the battles that you rolled your sleeves up and had to fight through them. And let's face it, sometimes you won, sometimes you didn't. But the reality is you had a bunch of brothers on that team. Doesn't matter what color they are, where they're from, whatever. You had a bunch of brothers on that team. And that's the viewpoint in the grand scheme of things. So many people seem to miss that. There's a brotherhood.
When I was a rookie, right, and I was hurt, so I had to go to sit in the hospital after minicamp before I go to LA for my flight. Fred Dreyer, right, veteran, I was a rookie. He said, Leroy, I'll take you. Fred Dreyer drove me down PCO. Ram Park was in Anaheim. Mm-hmm. He took me down to 57, all the way to the beach, drove me down PCH, all the way up through Long Beach, up to 110, to sit in the hospital, and then took me to the airport. Wow. I was leaving my rookie year. Now, Fred didn't have to do that.
Wow.
But that was very special.
But that's what friends do. That's what friends do, don't they?
Yeah. But here's the problem I have today. Stafford makes more in 1 year, probably more in one game, than our whole team made in 1980. He made more in 1 year than the Rams team made in 80, 81, 82, 83, probably 84. Because the payroll was like about, 7 million, 6 million, 8 million, 10 million, whatever.
Yeah. The numbers are so out of whack. And these guys, I'm sorry, I don't know. But it seems like they're not putting the work in that you guys put in back in the day, because they're out there making business decisions on the field. And you see that with receivers all the time. The alligator arm up. No, I don't want to get hit, this, that, and the other, because I could miss maybe 3 or 4 games or whatever. I'm going to miss $10 million or some crap like that. The reality is, Leroy, we've seen the game digress from its glory days from the 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way down to it's almost in the toilet today. And frankly, the league is just about an embarrassment as I see it. That's just my opinion. Take 30 seconds, talk about it, and then we're out of here.
Okay, here's the thing, all right? My first job made $45,000. I had no business decision. My business decision was to be on that field and play to get that $45,000. I was broke. But now I'm making $45 million. I got a business decision to make. I mean, I want to be on the field, but I ain't gonna be on the field at all costs. I need to make that $45 million. For $45,000, oh man, I needed that, but I had to be on the field. If they cut me, where am I gonna go? $45 million, and they cut me. Hey, see you later, man. I'm good.
Right. That's how it goes. Well, hey, listen, Leroy, we're out of time. Of course, we're going to bring you back. And who knows, maybe we might even put a show together with the two of us. Something good can happen there. And that's something that we're going to explore a little bit further down the road. Tell you what, folks, make sure, in case you missed any part of this, that you go back and listen to the full episode on any of our streaming platforms. A big thanks for Leroy Ervin joining us today. Giant round of applause for him. Yes. Big round of applause for Leroy, and I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.